You get to choose your suffering. What a horrible thing to have to think about, right? But after you hear what I have to say today, you'll realize that you're going to suffer anyways. And if you think about it beforehand and you're conscious of this, you can choose which suffering you want to do. Welcome back to the Goal Getter Life. I'm Cindy Knorr, change agent and mindset coach. And when it comes to suffering, most people do anything within their power to avoid it. But you know, and I know, that when we suffer, these are the things, when we look back on them, we realize that those are the things where there was the greatest growth opportunities for us, and we became a better person, more understanding, and all kinds of stuff. So suffering is not such a bad thing. And some people even say that you should embrace suffering and actually be grateful for it. Well, we're not going to talk about that today. What we're going to talk about instead is you get to choose your suffering. Or as Jordan Peterson says, you get to choose your damn suffering. But we don't need to add that damn in there. That's a bit of overkill. It's already suffering, right? We're going to go well beyond that. And you're going to realize that almost everything you do in your life, there's some form of suffering. For example, I went to visit a friend yesterday. She's had some back surgeries, and I hadn't seen her for a really long time. She had this box of cookies. And she said, "Have a cookie, Cindy." And I said, no, it's okay. I'm good. She said, "I know you're good, but have a cookie anyways." And I'm like, I don't want a cookie. And she took one and she was eating it. And she said, "Oh, these are so good. They're crunchy. You know, I love them when they're crunchy like this." And she was eating her cookie, and this other lady came to visit too. And so she was eating cookies with her, and they're both saying, "Have a cookie, Cindy." And I'm like, no, I don't want a cookie. And they're like, you don't have to deprive yourself, you know, and they're just all this social pressure, right? Everybody's eating a cookie. And why is it such a big deal anyways if I don't want a cookie? But it was like, they were like, "Cindy, eat the cookie. And I got to tell you, I didn't eat a cookie. I was so proud of myself, even with all of that. But when it comes to suffering, this whole topic about how you get to choose your suffering, I could have had a cookie and later regretted it, which is exactly what those ladies were doing when I was still there. Here I was not eating a cookie, and they were saying, "Oh, I probably shouldn't be eating this cookie anyways. One lady said, I gained 15 pounds, and the other lady said, "Yeah, I gained 20 just over the holidays." And I'm like, I didn't. But people don't like it when you say that, so I didn't go too far into it. I don't want to lose my friends. But the thing is, you get to choose your suffering. So when you think about it, you can choose to not have the cookie, which is a form of suffering, because you could feel that you're neglecting your things that taste really good or whatever. Or you could be like me when I was 220 pounds and I suffered being that size from being overweight and pre-diabetic and all kinds of horrible things. So now I know I will choose my suffering. I will rather not have the cookie, and I'll stick up for myself and be proud of that decision. Let's talk about exercise. When it comes to exercising, you know you should be doing it every day. How are you doing with that? Right. So you get to choose your suffering when it comes to exercise too, because you might think that you don't want to get up and you don't want to go to the gym or exercise at home. If you do, actually, I think exercising at home you need a lot more self-discipline than going to the gym, because if you're at home or if you have a workout facility in your building, it takes a lot of self-discipline to get yourself to do it. Because if you went to the gym and you were just sitting there on your cell phone on the side looking at YouTube videos at the gym, people would look at you funny, right? But there's nobody at home to make sure that you're going to do your working out. So you can either choose to exercise, or you can choose to be out of shape and unhealthy and not live a long life and suffer in that way. So you get to choose your suffering. That's the point about this is, like for me, I want to live to be 123 years old. And I don't want to be crippled up and have my brain not working properly. I want to be healthy and vibrant and still have a thriving coaching business, even well into my hundreds. So for me, exercising is just something that I have to do, and eating healthy, making good food choices. That is in a form of suffering that I'm choosing to do right now, so that I don't have to suffer later on. Get it? You choose your suffering. When it comes to exercise, think about how that applies in your own life, and think about what you're going to do about it. How are you going to make a better choice? Which suffering would you rather do? When it comes to exercising, and once I decided that I was going to exercise every day no matter what, I adopted this no excuses mentality. And here are some pictures of me. They're selfies that I took of myself when I was out there on my walk or my run in some rather extreme conditions. So you can do the same. Decide to exercise, do it every day, and just say, there's no excuses. I'm doing this. I've got a rather extreme example for you. I'm quite interested in body hacking, and this is something that a lot of people recommend that you do. I think that as a society, we've become really soft. We've got heated seats and heated steering wheels in our cars in the winter, and air conditioning and stuff like that. And nobody really wants to be uncomfortable. They do whatever they can to be uncomfortable. And we've gotten so soft. Our immune systems are not working like they should. If you have a tiny little pain, you take some painkillers. If you have stress, then you have to self-medicate and you take either some kind of drugs or alcohol or some way to numb the pain. We're just not used to being in suffering. So, what this extreme example that I have, that I do, you're probably going to think I'm crazy and you're not going to want to do it. But there's a small percentage of people, I'm not going to say there's a lot, small percentage of people who take a cold shower. And I mean cold as in really cold. And you think, who would ever do that? But it is so invigorating, you wouldn't even believe it. When I had my awesome workout this morning, and then I got in the cold shower, I turned it to the coldest that it would go. And you can't, if you're going to try this at home, don't think that you're going to just ease into it. You're not. There's no way to get comfortable getting under the stream of cold water when you turn it on. You just got to get under there. And it's going to be like, so your heart, you think your heart might stop. That's how you're going to feel. But what happens is, like, especially when you have to turn around, like you get used to it on the front, but when you turn around, it's all the same again on the back. But if you these parts, like under your arms, is like, it's almost excruciating. You go, oh, like this, and then you turn and you do it the same on the other side, and you wonder who would do that, right? But when you come out of there, I am telling you, you're going to feel like you're on the top of the world, and you will want to scream out, yeah, because it just, I can't even explain it. You have to do it. So if you're having a bad day, like, this is the best exercise in mindfulness too. If you have problems with mindfulness, literally when you're in a cold shower, you can't think about anything else. So that will be so good for you too, to practice for mindfulness. But getting out of the cold shower and you're just ready to take on the day. There's energy, and I can't even explain it. You are on the top of the world. And I do that at our lake too. As soon as the ice melts on the lake, I love to just dive into the water. My legs, the bottom of my legs will be literally purple and lumpy, and my brain is shouting at me, are you kidding me? This is like ice cold water. But you can't think about your brain. You just got to decide to do it. Just like those polar bear divers or whatever they do, they go into the ice water. I just go, I get out, as so that it's deep enough for me to actually dive in, and I go with my head under the water. And it's the same thing. When you get up, it's like, oh, it's out of this world. That's what I recommend. Try it. Try it at least once before you make a decision. You might say, no, I can never do this. But you can try. So there's been quite a bit of research that shows that if you do take these cold showers, that it strengthens your mitochondria, you get more energy, your immune system is better, and it's good for longevity and all kinds of stuff. And I do know that most people will not do this. They won't take a cold shower, even if the water heater broke down or they didn't pay their power bill or whatever. They would still probably find a way to heat water and put it in a tub and do a sponge bath. But I'm challenging you to give it a try. Today, when I was in the shower, it was so cold. I don't know why it was so cold today. Colder than ever. You know that feeling you get when you're eating an ice cream cone and you eating it too fast and you get brain freeze? I got that brain freeze on the outside, on the top of my head. It was that cold. I never had it that cold, but it was absolutely invigorating. And I stay in there for a long time. It's not like just a couple seconds, a long time. Like I do shampoo my hair, I do like everything that you would in the shower, but it's ice cold, okay? I'm choosing that suffering, like literally, it is a form of suffering. People will say, no, I kind of like my warm showers. I'm okay. Well, I kind of like living to be 123, really healthy and vibrant and having lots of energy and still having my coaching business. So you choose your suffering. I want you to think about where you are suffering in your life right now, what you are doing to cause that suffering, and what you could be doing differently to suffer in a more better way, right? You get to choose your suffering. If it could be anything, it doesn't have to be an extreme example like having cold showers, but what about in your relationships? Is there a difficult conversation that you're avoiding having? You're suffering because you are putting up with something that you could somehow try to fix by having the difficult conversation. So you're sitting there suffering. The difficult conversation is kind of a form of suffering too. You think that's going to be suffering, but literally it's what you need to do. You need to figure this out so that you don't have to keep on suffering by avoiding it. Okay, that's another example. I wanted to test out this whole concept of choosing your suffering for myself. And so the last time when I went out with my splurge ladies, we always have some wine after. And I know that for me, when I drink quite a bit of wine too late in the evening before going to bed, I end up having a horrible sleep. So I told myself before I went that I wasn't going to drink any wine this time. And I knew I was going to be shunned, worse than the cookie example actually, because who doesn't drink wine when they're going out with their lady friends who drink wine, right? But I ended up having a glass of water and they ended up having wine, which it was kind of this funny place, but they actually didn't like their wine and they were complaining about it, and they were complaining that they had to pay for wine that they didn't enjoy anyways. And I was happily sitting there drinking my water and I ended up having an awesome sleep. So I'm not going to give up drinking wine. I kind of like drinking wine, but I'm just giving you an example of ways that you can choose your suffering. For me, next time I go out, I can be intentional and choose to have one glass of wine and then one glass of hot lemon water or something, and then another glass of wine. Like kind of mix it up instead of so much wine, because my suffering, having a bad sleep, is something that is not good for someone who wants to live a happy, healthy life. Here's an everyday example. My son, who's 21 years old, came up with this one for himself. He thought, he doesn't like getting up in the morning and making himself a lunch. He doesn't want to have to get up earlier and he goes to his university classes, and then when he's there, he ends up having to go to the coffee shop and buy something there which is not as nutritious and costs a lot of money, and he doesn't get a big enough portion, so he's still hungry. So in that way, he is choosing to suffer a lot worse, I think, than if he did choose to get up in the morning and make something that he would enjoy, that would be enough, would be cheaper, and would be healthier. Or he could even choose to make his lunch at night before he goes to bed. He gets to choose his suffering. And he figured that out. He's 21 years old. And he's decided for himself that he's going to get up and make his lunch. It's up to you now. Where in your life are you going to choose to have a better form of suffering than you're having right now? I'm going to leave you with an awesome quote by the late Jim Rohn. He said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish I were better." You get to choose your suffering, and your choices have a huge impact on the rest of your life. So you can make your life better. And I'd love to hear what you're going to choose to do, which kind of suffering you're going to choose. Leave us a comment below and let us know. And for more everyday strategies on how to be your best and live an awesome life, subscribe to this channel. Comment, like, and share it with anyone you think might benefit. I'm Cindy Canor, change agent and mindset coach. And until next time, the best in me recognizes and honors the very best in you. I don't know if you can tell, but it's really cold out here. And I can hardly even move my mouth. My jaw feels like I've been to the dentist. But I chose this suffering because I wanted to make an awesome video for you today and show you the beautiful hoarfrost.